California is home to some of the most dangerous and notorious prisons in the United States. From gang violence and overcrowding to harsh conditions and infamous inmates, these facilities have gained a reputation for being some of the toughest places to serve time. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the 10 worst prisons in California, exploring what makes them so brutal and why they continue to be feared by inmates and corrections officers alike. Number 1. Pelican Bay State Prison, California's most notorious supermax facility. Pelican Bay State Prison (PBSP), located in Crescent City, California, stands as one of the state's most infamous correctional institutions. Established in 1989, this supermax prison was designed to house California's most dangerous and high-risk inmates. The 275-acre facility, situated near the Oregon border, comprises multiple security levels, including General Population GP, Level 2 dormitories, and the controversial security housing unit SHU. Known as Skeleton Bay for its harsh conditions, Pelican Bay has long been associated with extreme isolation, gang violence, and allegations of systemic abuse. Prison structure and security measures. PBSP accommodates a wide range of inmates, from Level 1 minimum security offenders to Level 4 maximum security prisoners. The prison's SHU, built to segregate gang leaders and violent offenders, contains approximately 1,056 solitary confinement cells in an X-shaped cluster. Each 8 by 10-foot cell is devoid of windows, equipped only with a concrete bed, a steel combination sink and toilet, and minimal furnishings. SHU inmates are confined for 22.5 to 23 hours a day, with their only break being 90 minutes in a small, enclosed concrete yard. Other units include the Restrictive Custody General Population RCGP, a 96-bed high-security unit allowing slightly more inmate interaction, and a Level 1 minimum support facility housing low-risk inmates in dormitory-style units. Additionally, the facility operates a firehouse staffed by 8 full-time inmate firefighters. Extreme conditions and solitary confinement. Pelican Bay's SHU has been widely criticized for the severe psychological impact of long-term solitary confinement. Numerous inmates have spent decades in complete isolation, with over 500 prisoners exceeding 10 years in solitary and some surpassing 20 years. One inmate was infamously held in solitary for 40 years. The gang validation system has contributed to prolonged SHU confinement, with inmates placed in isolation indefinitely based on tattoos, artwork, books, or even Christmas cards that officials deemed contained hidden gang symbols. These extreme conditions sparked widespread protests, culminating in massive hunger strikes in 2011 and 2013, where thousands of inmates refused meals to demand humane treatment. In 2015, a landmark legal settlement led to California reforming its indefinite isolation policies, resulting in thousands of prisoners being reintegrated into the general population. Gang influence and violence. Despite reforms, Pelican Bay remains a battleground for gang rivalries. The facility has historically housed key figures from major criminal organizations, including the Mexican Mafia, Nuestra Familia, the Aryan Brotherhood, and the Black Guerrilla family. Stabbings, riots, and racial conflicts are common occurrences. One high-profile case underscoring the prison's violence was the October 2020 murder of inmate Joshua Curley, who was found dead in his cell. His cellmate, Jesse Rippey, was later discovered injured in the recreation yard, raising speculation of a fatal altercation. Additionally, past reports have alleged that some prison staff orchestrated gladiator fights, deliberately allowing rival inmates to engage in brutal combat before using force to break them up. Cases of excessive force, prisoner abuse, and allegations of staff colluding with gangs have further tainted the facility's reputation. Brutality and notorious legal cases. Shortly after opening in 1989, PBSP developed a reputation for brutality. Reports emerged of guards subjecting inmates to excessive force, including staged fights, beatings, and inhumane treatment. One infamous case involved Von Dorch, a mentally ill inmate subjected to a scalding hot bath by prison staff, causing severe second- and third-degree burns. Such incidents drew national media attention, culminating in the landmark 1995 Madrid v. Gomez case, where federal district court judge Thilton Henderson ruled that Pelican Bay's use of excessive force and inadequate mental health treatment was unconstitutional. This forced some policy changes, but issues of violence and abuse persist. Hunger strikes and legal reforms. In 2011 and 2013, large-scale hunger strikes brought national attention to the prison's extreme isolation practices. Over 6,000 inmates statewide, including many from Pelican Bay, protested against the inhumane SHU conditions. The strikers demanded better food, weekly phone calls, and the reconsideration of indefinite solitary confinement placements. A 2013 hunger strike, which lasted over 2 months and involved nearly 29,000 prisoners across California, pushed lawmakers to examine Pelican Bay's solitary confinement policies. The protest culminated in legal battles, ultimately leading to a 2015 court settlement that reformed California's solitary confinement policies and prompted the release of numerous SHU inmates back into general population. The future of Pelican Bay. Pelican Bay State Prison remains a symbol of the challenges within the American penal system. From its early years of unchecked brutality to its role in national prison reform movements, the facility's legacy is still being written. While some progress has been made, the prison remains a high-security fortress where gang influence, violence, and harsh conditions dictate much of daily life. Whether Pelican Bay continues to be a stronghold of punitive confinement or transitions into a more rehabilitative facility will depend on the state's commitment to meaningful prison reform. For now, it remains one of the most notorious correctional facilities in the United States, its name synonymous with isolation, gang warfare, and the struggle between punishment and rehabilitation. Number 2. California State Prison. Corcoran. A deep dive into one of California's most notorious institutions. California State Prison. Corcoran CSPCOR stands as one of the most infamous correctional facilities in the state, housing some of the most dangerous individuals in the prison system. Located in Kings County, California, CSPCOR is a multi-mission prison that caters to various security levels and specialized programs. This deep dive explores the prison's structure, notorious events, and notable individuals who have walked its corridors. Institution overview and security levels. CSPCOR operates several distinct facilities designed to accommodate inmates based on their classification scores and security risks. These include Level 1 General Population. This facility houses 728 inmates, with approximately 95% assigned permanent jobs, such as administration porters, maintenance, warehouse operations, and dairy farming. Level 3 General Population and Sensitive Needs Yard. Facilities include 3A and 3B, designed for inmates with classification scores of 3659. These buildings support mental health services delivery systems MHSDS programs, including the Enhanced Outpatient Program EOP and Correctional Clinical Case Management System CCCMS. The 3A facility also has provisions for mobility impaired inmates. Level 4 General Population. Facilities 3B and 3C are designated for inmates with classification scores of 60 and above. These buildings house inmates with severe security risks and extensive criminal backgrounds. Administrative Segregation Unit ASU created to house inmates who pose risks to others or the institution. This unit provides court-mandated exercise, medical, and mental health care services while maintaining maximum security. Security Housing Units SHU and Protective Housing Unit PHU facilities 4A and 4B serve as SHU facilities, offering maximum security housing for inmates involved in gang activity or those requiring protection. These buildings are also home to the Debriefing Processing Unit DPU, where validated gang members renounce their affiliations in exchange for safer housing. Notorious events and figures at CSPCOR. CSPCOR is infamous for housing high-profile inmates, many of whom are linked to criminal organizations, including prison gangs and street-level syndicates. Additionally, it has witnessed some of the most violent incidents within the California prison system. Gang conflicts and racial tensions. One of the most talked about aspects of Corcoran is its history of violent encounters between gang factions. Notably, fights between the Norteños and Sureños as well as clashes involving the Aryan Brotherhood and Mexican Mafia have shaped its legacy. Multiple riots have broken out, leading to serious injuries and fatalities. Many of these conflicts were exacerbated by correctional officers allegedly orchestrating gladiator-style fights. Charles Manson's infamous stay. Charles Manson, the mastermind behind the 1969 Tate LaBianca murders, was among Corcoran's most famous inmates. Known for his delusions and influence over his followers, Manson was housed here in various capacities. Reports suggest that Manson often spoke about his beliefs regarding helter-skelter dismissing it as a fabricated narrative pushed by law enforcement. His fascination with mind control, the occult, and secret societies, such as the Freemasons, added layers to his enigmatic personality. Gladiator fights and corruption allegations. Corcoran's reputation took a significant hit when reports surfaced about correctional officers allegedly staging fights between inmates for entertainment and gambling purposes. These so-called gladiator matches led to severe beatings and multiple inmate deaths. Whistleblower accounts and investigative journalism have revealed that some officers were complicit in these setups, further highlighting the institution's deep-rooted issues with corruption. Corcoran's ongoing legacy. CSPCOR remains a symbol of both extreme punishment and limited rehabilitation. While it houses dangerous inmates and enforces strict disciplinary measures, its history is marred by controversy, violence, and claims of institutional misconduct. The legacy of infamous inmates, coupled with its role in California's prison system, ensures that Corcoran will continue to be discussed for years to come. As the prison continues to evolve, the focus remains on managing security risks while offering structured opportunities for inmates to reintegrate into society. However, for many housed within its walls, CSPCOR represents a final stop in a long journey through California's criminal justice system. Number 3. Salinas Valley State Prison. A high-security facility with a dark reputation. Salinas Valley State Prison, SVSP, is a high-security correctional facility operated by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, CDCR. Located in Soledad, California, approximately 20 miles southeast of Salinas, the prison sits near the scenic Central Coast. Despite its surroundings, SVSP is known for its dangerous environment, housing some of the most violent offenders in the state. Overview and mission. SVSP spans 300 acres and was established in May 1996. As of January 31, 2023, the facility holds 2,934 inmates, exceeding its intended capacity of 2,452 and operating at 119.7% capacity. The prison is managed by Warden Trent Allen and comprises multiple security levels, with Level 1, 3, and IB inmates housed across different facilities. A facility marked by violence. Despite these rehabilitative efforts, SVSP has a reputation as one of the most violent correctional institutions in California. With 637 documented use of force incidents in a year, an average of 1.74 incidents per day, this facility stands out as a hotspot for inmate violence. In 2022, SVSP recorded 19 deaths, though not all were homicides. That same year, prison staff were also targets of violence. On June 27, 2022, 2 correctional officers were stabbed during a routine cell search. The suspect, Carlos Pardomo, was serving a life sentence without parole for 2 counts of first-degree murder. The officers were transported to a hospital for treatment. Facilities and inmate housing. SVSP comprises 5 main facilities: A, B, C, D, and M. Facilities A, D, and M house sensitive needs yard, SNY, inmates. The surrounding housing units accommodate Level 3 and IB inmates, the highest security classifications in California's prison system. Facility M serves as a Level 1 yard, holding approximately 200 inmates. Overcrowding has been an ongoing issue at SVSP, forcing the repurposing of spaces. At one point, a gymnasium was converted into a dormitory due to high inmate population numbers, though it was later shut down in 2008 after population reductions. Notable inmates. SVSP has housed several high-profile criminals, including serial killers, gang members, and notorious figures from different backgrounds. Some of the most well-known inmates include Terry Childs, serial killer; Ariel Minor, convicted of murdering the wife of music executive Clarence Avant; Timothy McGee, notorious gang member and serial killer; Robert Piernick, engineer convicted of killing his wife; Hans Reiser, Linux kernel programmer convicted of murder; Efren Saldivar, former respiratory therapist turned serial killer; Antron Singleton, American rap artist; Roy Charles Waller, serial rapist. SVSP remains a facility that balances stringent security measures with opportunities for rehabilitation. However, its high number of violent incidents, overcrowded conditions, and the presence of dangerous offenders solidify its status as one of California's most formidable prisons. Number 4. High Desert State Prison. A deep dive into California's Notorious facility. Located in Susanville, California, High Desert State Prison, HDSP, is a high-security correctional facility managed by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, CDCR. Opened in 1995, HDSP has gained a formidable reputation due to its history, security measures, and troubling incidents. While the facility was designed to rehabilitate and house some of the most challenging inmates within the California prison system, reports of violence, high-profile inmates, and internal investigations have made HDSP a subject of ongoing discussion and scrutiny. Overview and structure. HDSP is situated in Leavitt, Lassen County, approximately 8 miles east of Susanville and about 90 minutes northwest of Reno, Nevada. It shares its location with other correctional institutions, including the California Correctional Center, which closed in June 2023, and the Federal Correctional Institution, Herlong. With a design capacity of 2,324 inmates, HDSP currently operates at approximately 89.6% capacity, housing 2,083 inmates as of January 2023. The prison's facilities are designed to accommodate different levels of incarceration security, including Level 4 maximum security, housing high-risk inmates with violent histories. Level 3 medium security, inmates with fewer restrictions but still requiring a secure environment. Correctional Treatment Center, CTC, a 35-bed facility dedicated to inmates needing specialized healthcare and mental health treatment. Sensitive Needs Yard, SNY, a designated area for inmates requiring protective custody, including former gang members and individuals vulnerable to attacks from the general population. Electrified Perimeter Security. A fully electrified fence surrounds HDSP's Level 3 and IV facilities, ensuring that escapes are virtually impossible. History and Development. The concept of HDSP originated in the early 1990s when the CDC identified a need for additional high-security inmate housing. The prison was constructed on the grounds of the California Correctional Center to take advantage of state-owned land and minimize infrastructure costs. Construction began on July 14, 1993, with a massive budget of $240 million. By 1995, HDSP opened, and its first inmates arrived in September of that year. In its early years, HDSP operated both Level 3 and Level 4 housing units. Over time, its classification system evolved to meet departmental needs. 1996. A 200-bed reception center was created but later converted into Level 3 General Population, GP, in 2012. 1997. A Level 3 270 design facility was converted into a Level 4 General Population Yard. 2007. A Level 4 270 design GP facility was converted into a Sensitive Needs Yard, SNY. The American Correctional Association granted HDSP accreditation in 2013. Despite this recognition, the prison has faced considerable challenges, from increasing violence to allegations of inmate abuse. Controversies and violence. HDSP is known for its history of violence and allegations of misconduct. In 2022, 6 homicides were recorded within the prison, an alarming statistic that highlighted the dangerous environment within its walls. The reputation of HDSP has been shaped by such incidents, contributing to its notoriety among California's prison facilities. In 2015, the Office of the Inspector General conducted a 6-month investigation following complaints of misconduct by correctional officers and allegations of prisoner abuse. The report noted systemic issues, including improper housing placements that put inmates at risk, a lack of proper oversight, with staff reportedly discouraged from reporting misconduct, frequent turnover in management, with 7 wardens in 8 years. The prison's isolation in Northern California has also led to an insular culture among prison staff, further complicating reform efforts. Notable inmates. HDSP has housed several high-profile criminals over the years, including Terry Peter Rasmussen, infamous serial killer, known as the Bear Brook Killer, who died in the prison in 2010. Joe Sun, actor from Austin Powers and convicted rapist. Joseph Fiorella, convicted in the murder of Elise Poller. Kalan Walker, actor in the film Superfly, convicted of multiple sexual assault charges. Impact on Susanville and Lassen County. The economy of Susanville is deeply tied to the presence of HDSP and other correctional institutions. At one point, nearly half of the adult workforce in the town was employed in prison-related jobs, making the industry a cornerstone of the local economy. The 2007 documentary Prison Town, USA explored how the prison system affects the daily lives of Susanville residents. With the closure of the neighboring California Correctional Center, there is uncertainty about the future employment landscape in Lassen County. Despite this, HDSP remains operational, continuing to provide jobs while maintaining its role in California's correctional system. High Desert State Prison stands as one of California's most formidable correctional institutions, housing some of the state's most high-risk inmates. While it provides critical vocational, educational, and rehabilitative programs, the prison has also been marred by violence, controversy, and allegations of systemic abuse. Its remote location, history of high-profile criminal activity, and deep economic ties to the Susanville community make HDSP a complex and significant component of California's penal system. Number 5. Kern Valley State Prison, also known as New Delano. A high-security facility with a troubled history. Overview of Kern Valley State Prison, KVSP. Kern Valley State Prison, KVSP, is a maximum security facility located in Delano, California. Opened in June 2005, it is a Level 4 institution housing some of the most high-risk inmates in the state. The prison spans 600 acres and includes 4 semi-autonomous high-security yards, 2 standalone administrative segregation units, ASU, and a Level 1 minimum support facility. The facility is surrounded by a lethal electrified perimeter fence, underscoring its status as one of the most secure prisons in the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, CDCR, system. KVSP has long been a focal point for discussions on prison security, gang violence, and correctional staff safety. It shares its location in Kern County with multiple other prison facilities, making the area one of the highest concentrated prison zones in the world. The facility was built to accommodate 2,448 inmates, but as of January 31, 2023, it operated at nearly 100% capacity, housing 2,431 inmates. However, in July 2022, KVSP's population had exceeded its designed limit, incarcerating 2,907 individuals, 118.7% of its capacity. The prison has an annual operating budget of $123 million and is managed by Warden Christian Pfeiffer. Violence and security threats at KVSP. Despite its high security infrastructure, KVSP has been plagued by violent incidents, including deadly inmate altercations and attacks on correctional officers. In 2022 alone, 12 inmates lost their lives due to violent incidents at the facility. One such incident occurred on June 2022, when Hector Jimenez was attacked in the day room by inmates Adrian Garola and Esteban Ceja. Armed with makeshift weapons, the attackers fatally wounded Jimenez at approximately 7:18 p.m. Despite immediate intervention, Jimenez was pronounced deceased by 7:27 p.m. Another case involved Abraham Morales, a 37-year-old inmate who was found unresponsive in his cell, which he shared with Charles Ramirez. The discovery was made during a routine security check, and despite life-saving efforts, Morales was pronounced dead an hour later. Similarly, prison officials were called to investigate the killing of Sidney Kong, a 31-year-old inmate who was fatally attacked in the recreational yard by Anthony Ramirez, 40, and Michael Caldera, 35. The attack involved inmate-manufactured weapons and is being treated as a homicide investigation. Violence at KVSP has also resulted in injuries and fatalities among correctional officers. One of the most brutal attacks occurred in April 2018, when Officer Armando Gallegos and another correctional officer were assaulted by 12 inmates inside a dormitory. Gallegos suffered severe injuries, including a broken vertebra, a concussion, and facial trauma. After months of battling these injuries under medical care, Gallegos tragically passed away, leaving behind his wife, Irma. Staff corruption and smuggling of contraband. Beyond violence, KVSP has faced internal challenges, including staff misconduct. One notable case involved Shay Sampson, a former CDCR officer charged with 3 felonies and a misdemeanor for allegedly accepting bribes in exchange for smuggling contraband, including cell phones and illicit substances, into the prison. Her case highlights the persistent issue of corruption within the correctional system, as illicit items often exacerbate existing gang rivalries and violence. Historical gang conflicts. Kern Valley has also been the scene of notorious gang conflicts. In 2009, a large-scale riot erupted between rival Hispanic gangs, the Norteños and Sureños, leading to severe injuries and structural damages within the facility. Due to ongoing tensions, prison officials eventually made the decision to relocate all Norteño inmates, completing their transfer 4 years later in 2013. Since then, KVSP has managed to stabilize, though occasional conflicts still arise between different gang factions. Inmate deaths and investigations. KVSP continues to experience frequent incidents that result in loss of life. For instance, Juan Mendoza, 26, was discovered unresponsive in his cell, where he was housed with Jorge L. Mendoza. The cause of death was ruled as homicide due to visible signs of injury. This marked yet another tragic event contributing to the prison's reputation as a dangerously violent institution. Notable inmates. Several high-profile criminals are incarcerated at KVSP, including Juan Manuel Alvarez, G. 33008, serving 11 life sentences without parole for his role in the 2005 Glendale train crash. Alvarez intentionally left his vehicle on the train tracks, leading to a derailment that resulted in the deaths of 11 individuals. Entrin Singleton, B. 24953, also known as Big Lurch, a former rapper serving a life sentence for a grisly crime involving the murder of his roommate. Future outlook for Kern Valley State Prison. KVSP remains one of California's most notorious and scrutinized correctional facilities. With continuous inmate violence, high-profile deaths, and security concerns, prison officials face an ongoing struggle to maintain order. While improvements in inmate management and stricter oversight of staff have been implemented, cases like Officer Gallagher's death and corruption scandals reveal that much work is still needed. Efforts to curb violence include enhanced security measures, better surveillance systems, and more stringent protocols on inmate interactions. However, given the deep-rooted gang presence within KVSP, conflicts remain an ever-present risk. Additionally, the CDCR continues to face pressure to improve inmate conditions and prevent fatalities within its system. Kern Valley State Prison stands as a testament to the complexities of California's correctional system. It serves as both a maximum security institution housing the state's most dangerous inmates and a facility with persistent security risks. The ongoing violence, high-profile cases, and challenges in maintaining order illustrate the harsh realities within the prison walls. With continued oversight and reform efforts, the hope remains that KVSP can transition into a facility where security, safety, and rehabilitation coexist more effectively. Number 6. California State Prison, Sacramento, also known as New Folsom, a notorious high-security facility and its violent history. Overview and history of California State Prison, Sacramento. California State Prison, Sacramento, CSP-SAC, commonly referred to as New Folsom, is one of the most high-security prisons in the state. Located adjacent to Folsom State Prison in Sacramento County, CSP-SAC was originally opened in October 1986 as an extension of Folsom before becoming a separate facility in 1992. Today, it houses some of the most dangerous inmates in California, serving primarily as a Level 4 institution designed to manage individuals requiring heightened security measures, specialized mental health programs, and medical care for high-risk offenders. With a design capacity of 1,828 inmates, the prison currently operates at nearly full capacity, with a fluctuating population of around 1,585 inmates. The prison consists of 24 high-security housing units, a standalone administrative segregation unit, and a minimum support facility, MSF. It features multiple levels of security classifications, from dormitory-style minimum security housing to heavily fortified Level 4 housing blocks equipped with electronic security and an extensive armed guard presence. Notably, CSP-SAC was the first California prison to be accredited by the American Correctional Association in 2012, earning a 98.6% score. A hotbed for violence and riots. Over the years, CSP-SAC has developed a reputation for frequent violence, prison riots, and organized gang activity. Given the concentration of high-risk offenders, incidents involving large-scale fights, stabbings, and targeted attacks have occurred regularly. One such significant event was a major riot on May 20, 2011, where approximately 150 inmates engaged in a large-scale melee. 2 prisoners suffered multiple stab wounds, requiring treatment at an outside hospital. Similarly, in August 2015, Hugo Pinell, a member of the infamous San Quentin Six, was killed in yet another violent outbreak. Before that, a riot involving 150 inmates in September 1996 resulted in the death of 1 prisoner after 17 gunshots were fired by prison officers. These violent incidents underscore the level of tension and organized criminal activity that persists at CSP-SAC. The murder of Michael Mosca Torres, a Mexican mafia power struggle. One of the most high-profile murders at CSP-SAC occurred on July 6, 2023, when Michael Mosca Torres, a key figure within the Mexican mafia, was fatally stabbed inside the prison by fellow inmates Juan Martinez, 47, and Ray Cisco Martinez, 49. Although unrelated by blood, both assailants were believed to be connected to the same criminal organization, raising suspicions that the attack stemmed from internal power struggles within the Mexican mafia. Torres, aged 59 at the time of his death, was known as a significant moneymaker for the Mexican mafia, controlling various operations including drug trafficking, fraud, robbery, and extortion inside and outside of the prison system. He had strong financial interests in the San Fernando Valley and had been linked to major drug distribution networks. In 2019, Torres was one of the few Mexican mafia members indicted in a sweeping federal case that targeted both the Mexican mafia and the Aryan Brotherhood. Prosecutors accused him of conspiring with the Aryan Brotherhood to distribute controlled substances inside prisons while also engaging in extensive criminal enterprises. Authorities believed his assassination was a strategic move by rival factions within the Mexican mafia looking to take control of illicit operations. Court records indicate that Torres had previously fought against being placed in administrative segregation, filing multiple legal motions requesting his return to the general population. He argued that his restrictive housing impeded his ability to defend himself in legal battles, citing concerns over claustrophobia due to his windowless cell. However, federal prosecutors countered that Torres posed a severe risk to others, revealing that he had been caught with a handcuff key and corresponded about illicit dealings in prison, particularly involving narcotics distribution. The attack on Torres, carried out in the prison yard during daylight hours, was swift and brutal. Officers responded immediately, but by the time Torres was extracted from the scene, he had sustained multiple fatal wounds. Authorities later confirmed that the attack involved gang-affiliated motivations and continued to investigate the broader implications within Mexican mafia leadership circles. The 2025 murder of Mario Campbell. Most recently, on January 15, 2025, another violent homicide rocked CSP SAC when Mario Campbell, 36, was attacked by inmates Cody R. Taylor and David M. Gomez in the main exercise yard. Prison staff responded promptly, deploying chemical agents to break up the altercation. Despite receiving immediate medical attention and being transported to an outside hospital, Campbell succumbed to his injuries at 6:27 p.m. Campbell had been incarcerated since 2009, serving a life sentence for multiple violent crimes, including first-degree burglary, first-degree robbery, assault with a firearm, sexual battery, and false imprisonment. Investigators later recovered 3 improvised weapons from the scene of the attack, underscoring the constant threat of violence inside the facility. Both attackers were placed in restricted housing as an investigation commenced. Authorities reported that they were examining whether the murder had links to prison gang politics or a personal dispute. Officials from the Office of the Inspector General and the Sacramento County Coroner were notified, as the case remains under review. Notable inmates at CSP SAC. Over the years, CSP SAC has housed several high-profile inmates, including Eric Menendez, one half of the infamous Menendez brothers, were convicted of murdering their wealthy parents in 1989. John Lee Cowell, convicted of the 2018 murder of Nia Wilson. 1L Go, perpetrator of the 2012 Oikos University shooting. Spoon Jackson, convicted murderer and poet, known for his literary work while incarcerated. Joe Hunt, founder of the Billionaire Boys Club, serving a life sentence for the murder of Ron Levin. Ramon Escobar, serial killer responsible for multiple homicides. Roy Charles Waller, serial rapist convicted of attacking multiple victims. California State Prison. Sacramento remains one of the most volatile institutions within the state prison system, consistently making headlines due to high-profile criminal activity, brutal homicides, and internal gang warfare. As a facility designed to house some of the most dangerous criminals, CSP SAC operates in a constant state of heightened security, yet continues to struggle with outbreaks of extreme violence. Whether stemming from long-standing gang rivalries or individual disputes, the cycle of prison-related homicides and organized crime within CSP SAC showcases the relentless power struggles behind bars. Number 7. San Quentin State Prison. California's oldest and most notorious penitentiary. San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, formerly known as San Quentin State Prison, is one of California's most historic and controversial correctional facilities. Established in 1852, it has long been associated with severe overcrowding, violence, and capital punishment. However, recent reforms have begun transforming its identity into one centered on rehabilitation rather than punishment. Governor Gavin Newsom's 2023 announcement to repurpose the facility signals a shift towards preparing incarcerated individuals for successful reintegration into society. Founding and historical significance. San Quentin stands on land historically named Puente de Quentin, after Native American chief Quentin, Quentin. Originally, prisoners were confined aboard the ship Wabun before the state secured land in Marin County for a permanent institution. Its construction commenced on October 12, 1852, cementing its place as California's oldest prison. Initially managed by private contractors, San Quentin became infamous for corruption, extreme disciplinary measures, and harsh conditions. These abuses prompted the state to take control in 1858. Inmates suffered through eras of flogging, overcrowding, and labor exploitation. Wardens like J.P. Ames and James A. Johnston later introduced reforms, including the abolishment of corporal punishment, medical care expansion, and the founding of San Quentin News, an inmate-run newspaper providing prisoners a voice. Facility and population. The 432-acre facility sits just north of the Golden Gate Bridge. It consists of 4 primary housing units, west, south, north, and east blocks, alongside restricted housing in the Adjustment Center, a central health care services building, and dormitories for lower security individuals. With a design capacity of 3,084, it has often held thousands more, exacerbating tensions among the incarcerated population, which includes general inmates, enhanced outpatient participants, and those under CCCMS programs. Violence and gang politics. San Quentin has housed some of the state's most dangerous figures and witnessed some of the most notorious gang conflicts. The prison's intricate internal politics are dominated by affiliations dictating respect codes and unwritten laws. Individuals refusing to abide by these rules often suffer grave consequences. Inmate Charles Smith, incarcerated for over 3 decades, described life inside. There's a layer of smoke in the air from people smoking, little papers floating around, and strings carrying contraband between cells. These circumstances illustrate the daily chaos, from gambling debts to sudden violent outbursts sparked by minor infractions. During its most violent decades in the 1960s and 1970s, the prison was a hotspot for riots and escape attempts. Native American inmates once refused to intervene in a racial dispute, understanding that such matters must be resolved among the involved parties. This dynamic remains a reality within the institution, where survival often hinges on strategic alliances and caution. San Quentin's role in capital punishment. For much of its history, San Quentin functioned as California's primary site for executions. The prison shifted from hangings to gas chamber executions before adopting lethal injection. High-profile inmates have faced their final sentences within these walls, contributing to the prison's reputation as the epicenter of capital punishment in the state. Though executions in California have been suspended, the facility still houses hundreds on death row, raising questions about its long-term viability in the age of criminal justice reform. San Quentin remains a controversial institution. While many see it as an inescapable relic of California's troubled carceral history, others view it as an opportunity for second chances. As rehabilitation takes center stage, the true test will be whether this ambitious vision leads to real change for those within its walls. In the end, San Quentin's legacy will depend not just on policy changes, but on the success of those who walk out its gates ready for a fresh start. Number 8. Inside California Correctional Institution CCI Tehachapi. History, Facilities, and Operations. California Correctional Institution CCI, commonly referred to as Tehachapi Prison, is a supermax state prison located in Tehachapi, California. Managed by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation CDCR, CCI serves as a critical part of the state's correctional system, housing a variety of security levels from minimum to supermax. A legacy of transformation, from women's prison to high-security facility. CCI's origins trace back to 1932 when it opened as the California Institution for Women, marking the state's first correctional facility dedicated to incarcerated women. However, a devastating earthquake in 1952 rendered the facility structurally unsafe, leading to its closure. The following year, the women's prison was relocated to Corona, and in 1954, the site was repurposed to house male inmates under the newly established California Correctional Institution. Throughout the 1980s, significant expansion took place, with new maximum security and high-medium custody facilities built in 1985 and 1986. These additions were considered state-of-the-art at the time. However, the high costs and delays in construction led some to label it as a white elephant or a Cadillac of prisons. Despite the controversy, CCI became a pivotal institution in California's penal system. In 2021, adjustments were made to the facility's operations, leading to the deactivation of its original minimum security unit due to a statewide decline in minimum custody inmates. Facility overview: housing, security, and programs. Situated in the Cummings Valley region, CCI spans an impressive 1,650 acres, featuring multiple security levels tailored to the needs and classifications of its inmates. The facility includes Level 1 housing, open dormitories within a secure perimeter. Level 2 housing, open dormitories with secure perimeter fencing and armed coverage. Level 3 housing, individual cells, fenced perimeters, and armed security presence. Level 4 housing, the highest security level, featuring cells, heavily secured perimeters, advanced electronic security, and an increased staff presence both inside and outside the facility. Security Housing Unit SHU. the most secure area within Level 4, designed for inmates requiring maximum security restrictions. Reception Center RC. Short-term housing where new inmates are classified and evaluated. As of January 31, 2023, CCI housed 2,611 inmates, exceeding its design capacity of 2,172, placing it at 120.2% occupancy. Historical significance and pop culture references. CCI has had a notable presence in history and pop culture. In its early years as a women's facility, it was referenced in classic films such as The Maltese Falcon and Double Indemnity, where characters spoke of being sent to Tehachapi. Additionally, in 2007, during the devastating California wildfires, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger deployed inmate firefighters, including those from CCI, to assist in fire suppression efforts, showcasing the facility's role beyond incarceration. The California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi stands as a multifaceted correctional facility that has evolved significantly since its inception. From its roots as the first women's prison in California to its current status as a high-security men's institution, CCI continues to play a vital role in the state's prison system. Despite challenges such as overcrowding and evolving correctional policies, it remains committed to balancing security with rehabilitation, providing incarcerated individuals with opportunities for growth while maintaining public safety. Number 9. Folsom State Prison, also known as Old Folsom. A legacy of incarceration, escape attempts, and cultural impact. The origins and construction of Folsom State Prison. Folsom State Prison, FSP, located in Folsom, California, is the second oldest prison in the state and one of the most notorious correctional facilities in the United States. Established in 1880, it was designed to house California's most hardened criminals. Built on the site of the Stony Bar mining camp along the American River, Folsom was initially intended to hold 1,800 inmates, who were confined to 4 by 8 foot stone cells sealed by thick steel doors. These conditions left inmates in near total darkness until the 1940s, when small air holes were drilled into the doors to allow for ventilation. Folsom was also groundbreaking in infrastructure. It became the first prison in the world to have electric power, generated by California's first hydroelectric plant. Prisoners were forced into hard labor, particularly in the granite quarry, which provided materials for the foundation of the state capitol building and several early California roads. By 1947, Folsom became synonymous with manufacturing California's license plates, a tradition that continues today. Executions at Folsom. Between 1895 and 1937, Folsom was one of California's 2 main execution sites, along with San Quentin. In total, 93 prisoners were executed by hanging at Folsom. The first was Chen Hain on December 13, 1895, for the alleged murder of Li Gong, a case that remained controversial due to conflicting testimonies. While many records list only 92 executions, official prison archives confirm that the correct number is 93. After 1937, all executions in California were moved to San Quentin's gas chamber, marking the end of Folsom's role as a death row facility. Overcrowding and the expansion of Folsom Prison. As time passed, overcrowding became a persistent issue. By 2009, the prison population had skyrocketed to 4,427 inmates, well beyond its intended capacity. As of April 30, 2020, Folsom's men's facility was operating at 130.4% capacity, with 2,694 inmates. Additionally, the prison housed one of the largest inmate populations in the country within Unit 1, which alone held nearly 1,200 inmates in 4 5-tiered sections. Recognizing the need for additional space, Folsom opened a separate women's facility in 2013, making it the northernmost women's prison in California. The facility housed primarily low-risk female inmates and had a capacity for 403 prisoners, 25% of whom were Hispanic. However, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the facility was permanently closed, with inmates either transferred to other institutions or released. The Folsom Prison Cemetery. Located on a hillside near Folsom Dam, the Folsom Prison Cemetery serves as the final resting place for inmates who died while incarcerated. Originally, grave markers only displayed numbers instead of names, but in 2018, the El Dorado Hills Genealogical Society undertook an initiative to properly identify those buried there. Folsom's most daring escape attempts. As one of America's first maximum security prisons, Folsom has seen numerous escape attempts, some of which became legendary. 1920. The prison train escape. 3 convicts hijacked a prison train and smashed it through the gates in a dramatic but ultimately unsuccessful escape attempt. 1927. Thanksgiving Day riot. On November 24, a violent escape attempt left 14 people dead, including a prison guard and inmate George Baker. Roy the Rat Stokes, one of the escapees, was convicted of first-degree murder and executed on January 3, 1930. 1932. The dummy escape. Inmate Matthew Harris fooled guards by creating a lifelike dummy using his own hair and plaster of Paris. His escape was discovered only during the next head count. 1932. The homemade diving suit attempt. Carl Reese attempted to swim to freedom using a makeshift diving suit made from a football bladder and a goggle lens. However, his breathing tube was too short, and he drowned in the mill pond. 1937. The Warden assassination. On September 19, 7 inmates attacked and fatally stabbed Warden Clarence Larkin and Officer Harry Martin. The leader of the attack was executed in December 1938 along with 4 other participants. 1987. The FBI's most wanted escape. Glenn Stewart Godwin, a convicted murderer, cut through a fence, crawled 750 feet through a storm drain, and floated down the American River on a raft. He was captured in Mexico in 1991 but later escaped from a Guadalajara prison and remains at large. 2010. The most recent escape. On October 19, 2010, Jeffrey William Howard and Garrett Daniel Summit escaped from Folsom's minimum security unit. They were recaptured soon after. Folsom Prison's influence on popular culture. Johnny Cash and the iconic concert. Folsom State Prison gained worldwide recognition through Johnny Cash's 1955 song Folsom Prison Blues, which depicted a fictional outlaw lamenting his incarceration. The song became a defining piece of Cash's career, culminating in his legendary live performance at Folsom on January 13, 1968. The concert, held in the prison cafeteria, was recorded as the album Asterisk at Folsom Prison Asterisk, featuring the hit single Folsom Prison Blues. The album topped the country music charts for 4 weeks and remained on the pop album charts for an astounding 122 weeks. Cash later reflected that the inmates at Folsom were the most enthusiastic audience I ever played for. A 40th anniversary tribute concert was planned for January 13, 2008, featuring Cash's original drummer, W.S. Fluke Holland, but was ultimately cancelled due to security concerns and media restrictions. Los Tigres del Norte, a new era of musical tribute. In 2018, to mark the 50th anniversary of Johnny Cash's historic performance, the legendary norteño band Los Tigres del Norte performed for inmates at Folsom, including those in the now-closed women's facility. The concert was recorded for a Netflix special released in September 2019, ensuring that Folsom's place in music history remained intact. Folsom State Prison has endured as a symbol of both America's harsh penal system and the potential for rehabilitation. From its early days of stone cells and executions to its legendary escape attempts and musical legacy, the prison remains one of the most infamous correctional institutions in the United States. Despite its violent past, Folsom has also been a place of reform, with vocational programs, education initiatives, and historical significance that continue to shape its evolving legacy. Number 10. Calipatria State Prison, a complex institution of security and history. Calipatria State Prison, Cal, located in Calipatria, California, is a male-only state prison under the jurisdiction of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. The facility, situated 184 feet below sea level, the lowest elevation of any prison in the Western Hemisphere, houses both minimum and maximum security inmates. Opened in 1992, Calipatria remains a significant part of California's prison system, accommodating approximately 2,500 inmates despite a design capacity of 2,308. The prison spans 1,227.5 acres, with the secure facility itself occupying 300 acres. With an annual budget of $123 million as of 2006, Calipatria employs over 1,000 personnel. It offers educational and vocational programs to inmates while maintaining one of the highest security levels in the state. Over 2,000 of its housing units are designated as Level 4 maximum security, with the remainder classified as Level 1 minimum security. Security and incidents. As a high-security institution, Calipatria has experienced numerous violent incidents over the years. The prison has been known for gang-related violence, overcrowding, and tensions among inmates and staff. One of the most notorious incidents occurred on July 10, 2016, when a riot broke out in Facility C's maximum security yard. 22 inmates engaged in simultaneous fights across 2 areas of the yard. Most inmates complied when correctional officers ordered them to stop, but 2 individuals continued attacking a 3rd inmate with inmate-manufactured weapons. Officers recovered 4 such weapons after the altercation. The victim, a 54-year-old man serving a life sentence for first-degree murder and second-degree robbery from Los Angeles County, sustained multiple puncture wounds to his abdomen, chest, head, and back. He was transported to an outside hospital but succumbed to his injuries at 11 a.m. that same day. A second inmate, a 25-year-old admitted for attempted murder in 2015, also suffered puncture wounds but survived after being airlifted to a nearby hospital. No correctional officers were harmed in the riot. The prison's investigative services unit launched an inquiry into the incident, with assistance from the Imperial Valley District Attorney's Office. Another violent episode took place in August 2005, when Calipatria experienced one of its most severe riots. This uprising left 25 inmates and 25 staff members injured. The situation escalated to the point where a correctional officer was forced to use a Ruger Mini 14 semi-automatic rifle, fatally shooting an inmate to restore order. Officials later identified the conflict as involving gang-affiliated inmates, historical challenges and notable inmates. Since its opening, Calipatria has faced various issues, including double selling, psychological stress among inmates, staffing shortages, and gang-related violence. In 1995, a brutal assault saw 5 inmates attacking 8 correctional officers, marking one of the most severe attacks on prison staff in California at the time. Notable individuals incarcerated at Calipatria include Angelo Buono Jr., 1934-2002, one of the infamous Hillside Stranglers, a serial killer who terrorized Los Angeles in the late 1970s. He died in Calipatria from a massive heart attack in 2002. James Fagone, accomplice of convicted murderer Larissa Schuster. Alexander Hernandez, convicted serial killer. Cesar Fernando Limas, convicted of a brutal triple homicide. Jose Luis Orozco, sentenced to death for the 2005 murder of Los Angeles Deputy Sheriff Jerry Ortiz. Herbert Pina Tom, convicted for a fatal 1998 drive-by shooting in Calexico, California. Environmental conditions and infrastructure. Calipatria's desert-like climate poses additional challenges. The summer months bring temperatures as high as 118 degrees Fahrenheit, and the area is pervaded by the strong odor of cow manure from nearby cattle feedlots. Despite these conditions, Calipatria remains one of California's primary maximum security facilities. Originally constructed with an electrified fence capable of instantaneously stopping escape attempts, the prison faced unforeseen complications when local wildlife, particularly birds, were electrocuted. An ornithologist was hired to help redesign the system to mitigate these unintended deaths. Calipatria State Prison remains a focal point in California's correctional system, balancing high-security operations with rehabilitation efforts. While notorious for its history of violence, gang activity, and challenging conditions, it continues to function as a critical facility for housing and managing the state's most dangerous inmates. Through ongoing investigations, security enhancements, and operational improvements, Calipatria seeks to maintain order while upholding the state's broader correctional goals. That wraps up our list of the 10 worst prisons in California. But the truth is, any prison has the potential to erupt in violence at any time. Whether it's due to overcrowding, gang conflicts, or inhumane conditions, no facility is ever truly safe. Let us know in the comments which prison shocked you the most or if there's one you think should have made the list. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.